Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So the most accurate poll in the country, a lot of people have been asking that question, and back in 2020 we know our answer in terms of both the swing states as well as the national vote, and it was the most accurate by far in terms of the national vote, was actually this pollster called AtlasIntel. They poll a lot of South American countries, Central American countries. They've had some very accurate results there. A few maybe not so accurate, but here they've been very accurate in this country. And what we do know is that they just dropped their final poll, and they had Donald Trump up. If you've seen my videos, we've covered it in the past, over the past couple of months from time to time. They had Donald Trump leading by several points nationwide. They were an outlier, but a lot of other pollsters have come around to that being the result. And I kind of wanted to show what their poll was for their final 2024 poll, as well as get into some of their swing state polling, which last time seemed like it didn't make a ridiculous amount of sense, but now maybe it's starting to match up a little bit more with the national polling, a little bit more consistency. We're going to cover it all, but first, really quickly, I have to tell you guys about my merch store because we only have 3 days left before the store closes for the year. But we still have our 2024 election drop, and we are doing a deal where you can buy one, get one 20% off all t-shirts, tank tops, and coffee mugs. We have all these great designs, but we got a new design. We've got the Trump McDonald's design with the Trump, with the McDonald's picture. We got the Trump logo with the M, Make America Great Again. We also have the coffee mug as well. You have the Trump logo, and then you have the Donald Trump picture from McDonald's on it. It's epic. You can buy the t-shirt and you can get the coffee mug 20% off for a limited time, but keep in mind the store's closing in about 3 days, so make sure if you want to check it out, you do it now. But I will say that we have our result from the final AtlasIntel poll, and we have Donald Trump at 50%. He's leading the popular vote by 2% in the most accurate pollster from 2020 and 2022. In the full field, he actually leads 50 to 47. He actually led 51 to 48 in the last poll. This margin's a little bit more plausible, in my opinion, a little bit more realistic, but still a very good poll for Donald Trump. If he loses the popular vote by 2, there's still a very, very good chance he wins the election. So the fact that we're seeing this poll drop, Donald Trump leads by 2%, that is absolutely huge for Donald Trump. And in terms of the past record, because people may not remember what AtlasIntel had as their final margins before. In 2020, they showed Biden leading the popular vote by 4.7%. That was only a 0.2% miss, and they overestimated Biden. In 2022, they had Republicans winning the House ballot, the generic ballot, by 3.1%. So they overestimated Republicans by 0.3%. That's not bad either. When you take the average of those two polls, it's basically even. They don't have a track record of overestimating one side a lot more than they've overestimated another. And now we have their national poll, and Donald Trump leads it by 2 in the popular vote. If that is true, it is lights out for Kamala Harris. And some of what we're seeing in the early vote data kind of does align with that, because Republicans are doing extraordinarily well. They're hyped. They're hyped in the red areas. Democrats, they're having a problem. Yeah, they're going to get their high propensity voters out, but the low propensity wave that carried them in 2020, are they going to be able to get those voters to the polls? We're not seeing that. We're not seeing that in the mail request. They're going to have to come out on Election Day in full force. A lot of those voters never voted on Election Day before. It's a big, big gamble for them. And that's not really what a lot of these polls are exactly currently showing when you look at certain polls that poll who's voting on Election Day. It's Republicans. They're leading by a decent amount. There was a poll that came out of Pennsylvania that was tied, but they had Republicans winning the Election Day vote by 16%. If that is true, Trump wins the state by 4. And of course, they don't wait for that. But just based off of the trajectory of the race, if that is true and that holds up, a lot of people like to cherry pick on the left. If we decide to play that game, we could say, okay, well, Donald Trump's going to be in a good position. But it is true that if that's the result, being generous in my model as I possibly could be to Kamala Harris, yeah, that's basically what it would entail. If Trump wins the election day vote in Pennsylvania by like, I guess you would say 10, 11, like that's what it would take to get it to like 50-50, depending on how the voters that are currently voting end up voting. But we have swing state polling that also might back that up a little bit better. Donald Trump in Pennsylvania leads by 3 points. He leads 50-47, basically, when you round. In Michigan, he leads by 1. Wisconsin, he leads by half a point. In Nevada, he leads by 1, which, again, is plausible. And the early vote data looks very good in Nevada for Republicans. We'll see if that keeps up. But Arizona, he leads by 3.5 points. Again, early vote data looks good there. Georgia, he leads by 3.4 points. Again, similar thing. North Carolina is the one outlier. And just for the record, their previous polls had Harris winning North Carolina by like a couple points. Like it was always an outlier. It's showing, in the full field, basically, the race is a toss-up there. But I think that, yeah, obviously, if Georgia is going to be going Republican by 3, North Carolina, even if it does end up to the left of Georgia, Trump is going to win both. He's not really in trouble in North Carolina, so much so to the point where Harris is starting to pull ads in North Carolina. And Republicans, for the first time ever that we've seen this in recent memory, they're leading the early vote data in North Carolina just outright. And of course, we don't know who's voting for who, and that's true. You can't take it for granted. We don't know what's going to happen in the next week. We need everybody to get out and vote. Vote early if you can. If not, vote on election day. Do whatever you'd like, but you better make sure you get to that polling place, by election day, so you can make sure that you vote and make sure that your vote gets counted. Regardless, we got to win this thing. We got all the momentum at our back. It's true. And the most accurate pollster in the entire country in 2020 and 2022 is showing this. But unlike the last time they polled, they're not the only pollster showing this. If you look at Real Clear Politics, this is the same result that a lot of other pollsters have gotten. Pollsters that are not typically the kindest historical pollsters to Donald Trump. They're showing it. In fact, if you look at the RCP average, Donald Trump is currently leading it. That is unheard of because he's never led except for a few days back in 2016, either time the last 2 cycles. Obviously, he was leading this cycle against Biden and then against Harris, and then you had, the honeymoon. How much of that was even real? Who knows? Could have been response bias for all we know. Now, when you look at this, you can see it's not the only poll showing it. TIPP, they're largely a tracking poll as it stands now, but they've shown Trump up by 1 to 2 as well. Now it's back to Harris +1. Who knows what it'll show tomorrow? But then you get polls out of Rasmussen. They show it. They're more of a right-leaning pollster. But then you look at Wall Street Journal. They have Trump up by 3. Forbes has Trump up by 2. CNBC, that's not exactly a right-leaning pollster. They have Trump up by 2. And even Fox News, people will say it's a right-leaning network, but the pollster itself is not a right-leaning pollster. They've underestimated Trump and even Republicans quite a bit, and they have Donald Trump currently leading by 2 points, the same margin the AtlasIntel poll shows. So it's not exactly an outlier anymore. The outlier might be in their North Carolina results, but they're kind of incompatible with the Georgia results. But in terms of what we're seeing, that's the outlier. The other results tend to be more in line with reality as it stands now. And we don't know what's going to happen in Pennsylvania in terms of the percentage of the election day vote that's going to split in Trump's column. But just using common knowledge, logic, certain polls, it does point to the fact that Donald Trump probably is going to win Pennsylvania as it stands today, so long as people get out and vote. And if that happens, it's very unlikely he's going to lose the election because he's probably going to win, Georgia, Arizona, and North Carolina. Obviously, he wouldn't even need Arizona at that point so long as he gets the other 2 in Pennsylvania. But there's so many paths to victory for Donald Trump. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, is going to have to run the table in the Rust Belt, or she's going to have to flip a state where, the early data, it honestly, according to both Republicans and Democrats, are saying, yeah, it's a little bit too much to overcome. And that's why there's rumors about them pulling money out of North Carolina and having to put that into other states. and you don't really see Kamala Harris exuding a lot of confidence in Arizona. Georgia, who knows? Will she try to make a play for that down the stretch? It's still not likely because black turnout is just not enthused whatsoever as it stands today, unless you see this massive election day surge out of nowhere, which we really have not seen before. So keep all that in mind. But in terms of what the polling is showing, the most accurate poll, the gold standard in America for the past 2 election cycles, one presidential, one midterm, they're currently showing Donald Trump in a phenomenal position, and it's in line with a lot of other pollsters. The poll that's been accurate twice and on the money is going to have to be off by 4 points plus for Kamala Harris to win this election. And that's the way it goes. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.